My beloved, I need you to pause everything right this second. Put your phone down if you are scrolling. Close your other tabs if you are multitasking. Let the noise fade, because what I am about to reveal cannot be heard through distraction. This moment was carved out specifically for you, not for your neighbor, not for the crowd that will watch this later. This is a divine appointment between your heart and mine, and I need your full attention because the silence you have been experiencing is not what you think it is. Do you remember when my servant Elijah stood on the mountain, trembling, waiting to hear from me? He had just run from Jezebel. He was exhausted, afraid, convinced he was the only one left. And then I showed him something. There was a great wind that tore mountains and broke rocks in pieces. But I was not in the wind. After the wind came an earthquake. But I was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came fire, but I was not in the fire. And after the fire came something he almost missed. A still, small voice. A whisper so gentle it required complete silence to hear. That is where I was. Not in the noise he expected, but in the quiet that followed. Right now you are standing where Elijah stood, waiting in the silence, wondering if I am still there, and I am telling you what I told him. I am here. I have always been here, but you will only hear me if you stop expecting me to show up in the earthquake. You have been waiting for an answer. I know this because I know you. I know every prayer you whispered under your breath while driving to work. I know every desperate plea you made while staring at the ceiling at 3 in the morning when sleep would not come. I know every tearful confession you poured out when you thought no one was listening. And here is what I need you to hear. I was listening. I am listening. Every word you spoke went straight into my hands. I collected them. I held them. Not one syllable fell into a void. But you have been asking me why I have gone quiet, why I stopped responding, why the heavens suddenly feel like brass. And in those moments when you heard nothing back, you began to question everything. You questioned your faith. You questioned your worthiness. You even questioned whether I heard you at all. My son David went through this same wilderness. I had anointed him king when he was just a shepherd boy. I gave him victory over Goliath. I gave him favor in Saul's court, and then I went silent, completely silent. While Saul hunted him like an animal, while he hid in caves, dirty and desperate, while his own men questioned whether following him was a mistake. And in that cave, covered in darkness, David cried out to me, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me, so far from my cries of anguish?" He felt the silence press down on him like a weight. He felt abandoned. He wondered if I had forgotten my promise to make him king. But here is what David could not see while he was in that cave. While he was writing psalms in the dark, I was removing Saul from the throne. While he was crying out in silence, I was positioning armies in his favor. While he felt forgotten, I was preparing a kingdom for him to rule. The silence was not neglect. It was the sound of kingdoms shifting in the unseen realm. I was working. I never stopped working. Let me tell you something that will shift everything you thought you understood about my silence. When I go silent, I am not absent. I am not punishing you. I am not turning my back on you. When I go silent, I am not distant. I am not disinterested. I am not done with you. My silence is not empty. It is full, loaded with purpose, packed with strategy, filled with movements you cannot see but will soon understand. When you cannot hear me, I am working in dimensions your ears were never designed to detect. I am moving in the invisible realm, orchestrating the impossible, rearranging what needs to be shifted, so that when you finally see the result, you will understand why I could not speak too soon. Some things I do require silence, not because I want to confuse you, but because I need to protect what I am building from interference, even your well-intentioned interference. Think about this carefully. When a surgeon operates, the patient must be put to sleep. They cannot see what is happening. They cannot feel the incisions being made. They cannot watch the surgeon's hands cutting away disease. All they experience is silence and stillness. But that silence does not mean nothing is happening. In fact, the most critical, life-saving work is taking place in that exact moment when they are most unaware. Life is being rescued. Tumors that would have killed them are being cut out. Broken things that would never heal on their own are being repaired. And when the patient wakes up, they do not wake up to an explanation of every cut that was made. They wake up to healing that is already in progress. The pain they feel is not from the disease. It is from the cure. That is what my silence is doing in your life right now. You are not awake to the process because if you were, you would interfere. You would panic at what I am removing. You would resist what I am restructuring. So I have put your understanding to sleep for a season, not to harm you, but to operate without your fear getting in the way. Right now, while you hear nothing from me, I am cutting away what has been poisoning your future. I am removing relationships that were slowly draining the life out of your destiny. I am extracting bitterness that took root so deep you did not even realize it was there. I am rewiring the way you think. I am recalibrating your heart. I am restructuring the entire path ahead of you. And I am doing all of this while you hear nothing. Because some work is too delicate, too critical, too transformative to be done with an audience watching and questioning every move I make. If you sense right now that I am speaking directly to your situation, if something in your spirit is responding to these words, take a moment and type the word operating in the comments. Let that be your agreement with me. Let that be you saying, I give you permission to do the deeper work in my life, even when I cannot see it or understand it. You thought my silence meant I was not listening. But let me tell you what actually happened to every single word you spoke to me. I heard every prayer you whispered, every desperate plea, every tearful confession. I heard all of it. I collected every word. I bottled every tear. Not one syllable fell into a void. Your prayers did not bounce off the ceiling. They went straight into my hands, and I have been holding them carefully, waiting for the exact moment when answering them would not hurt you but heal you. Because here is what you do not see. You wanted me to answer you immediately. You wanted relief right then. You wanted the door to open the second you knocked. But if I had given you what you asked for in the timing you demanded, it would have destroyed you. And I love you too much to destroy you just to make you comfortable. The relationship you begged me to restore. It was toxic. The toxins were invisible to you because you were still in love with the idea of what it could be. But I saw what it actually was. I saw how staying in it would drain every ounce of life from your future. I saw how it would steal the calling I placed on you, so I went silent when you asked me to bring it back. Not because I did not hear you, but because I heard you, and I loved you enough to say no. The job you cried for me to provide, it would have trapped you. It looked like opportunity to you, but I saw the cage. I saw how it would lock you into a place with no room for the growth I am preparing you for. So when you asked me to open that door, I kept it closed, and my silence felt cruel to you. But it was the kindest thing I could do. The breakthrough you kept asking for would have come before you were strong enough to sustain it. And I have watched too many people I love gain something they prayed for, only to lose it because they were not ready to carry the weight of the answer. So I went silent, not because I did not care, but because I cared too much to give you something that looked like a blessing but would function like a curse in your hands. If you are hearing this right now, if these words are landing in your spirit like an arrow hitting its target, I need you to do something. Write the word faithful in the comments. Not just as a response, but as a declaration. Let that be you saying to me, I trust you even when I cannot trace you. I trust you even when my feelings are screaming the opposite. I trust that you are working even in the silence. My silence has been protection. It has been preparation. It has been me strategically withholding certain things, so that when I finally release what I have been building behind the scenes, you will be ready to carry the weight of it. I have not been ignoring you. I have been maturing you. I have not been avoiding your prayers. I have been crafting answers that will last for generations, not just fix your situation for a season. What I am doing behind the scenes is so much greater than what you have been asking me to do in the open. You asked me for a job. I heard you, but I am not just giving you a job. I am building you an entire career, a legacy, a platform. You asked me for a relationship. I heard you, but I am not just giving you a relationship. I am preparing you for a covenant that will change your bloodline. You asked me for provision. I heard you, but I am not just giving you provision. I am teaching you how to steward abundance so that when it comes, and it is coming, you will not lose it the way others have. But none of that could happen on your timeline. Your timeline was based on your pain. You wanted relief from what you were feeling. I understand that. But my timeline is based on your purpose. And your purpose is bigger than your pain. You wanted comfort. I am producing character. You wanted me to remove the pressure. I am using the pressure to transform you into someone who can handle what is coming. Because what is coming is so big that the old version of you would have collapsed under the weight of it. You have been in a season where nothing seemed to be moving. Your circumstances looked the same day after day. You prayed for change and saw none. You believed for breakthrough and experienced delay instead. You stood on promises that felt like they were never going to manifest. And so you began to wonder if you heard me wrong. You started questioning whether the dream I gave you was real or just wishful thinking. Let me take you back to a young man I loved deeply, Joseph. I gave him dreams when he was 17 years old. Dreams of greatness, dreams of leadership, and he believed those dreams because they came from me. He knew my voice. But after I gave him the vision, I went silent, completely silent. And while I was silent, his brothers betrayed him, sold him into slavery. He was falsely accused, thrown into prison for a crime he did not commit. 13 years passed, 13 years of silence. 13 years of Joseph waking up every single day wondering if those dreams were real or if he had imagined my voice. But here is what I need you to understand. I was never silent in my activity. I was only silent in my explanation. During those 13 years when Joseph heard nothing from me, do you know what I was doing? I was positioning him. Every betrayal taught him about human nature so he would not be naive when I gave him power. Every false accusation built his character so he would have integrity when I gave him influence. Every day in that prison was developing his gift, so that when I brought him before Pharaoh, he would have the skill to save an entire nation from starvation. The silence was not abandonment, it was preparation. I was preparing him for a stage he did not even know existed. And when the silence finally broke, when I finally spoke again, Joseph went from a prison cell to a palace in one day. One day, 13 years of silence, one day of sudden shift. That is how I work. Let me silence those doubts right now. You heard me correctly. The promise I gave you still stands. The vision I placed in your heart is not void. It is valid. And everything I spoke over you is still in motion, even when it looks like nothing is happening. The silence does not mean I changed my mind. It means I am changing you so you can handle what I am about to release. Silence does not mean stillness right now. Underneath the surface of your visible circumstances, I have been shifting foundations. I have been repositioning people. I have been closing doors you kept trying to force open, and I have been unlocking doors you did not even know existed. I have been working in courtrooms of the Spirit that you will never enter. I have been having conversations on your behalf that you will never hear. I have been making moves in the spiritual realm that your natural eyes cannot detect. There is a war happening right now that you cannot see. I have dispatched angels on your behalf. I have canceled demonic assignments that were set against your future. I have intercepted attacks that were headed toward you, and you do not even know how close they came. There are prayers you prayed years ago that are finally reaching their appointed time of manifestation. There are seeds you planted in tears that are about to produce a harvest, so large you stopped expecting it. You see the surface. I see the structure. You see the delay. I see the divine setup. You see the weight. I see the weight of glory that is being prepared for you, and I know with absolute certainty that you are not ready to carry it yet. So I keep you in the silence a little longer, not to frustrate you, but to fortify you. Consider the story of my friend Lazarus. When Mary and Martha sent word that their brother was sick, when they begged me to come, I did not come immediately. I stayed where I was for 2 more days. I let him die. I let them weep over his body. I let them bury him in a tomb. I let them sit in confusion, wondering why the one who called himself their friend would ignore their desperate plea. When I finally arrived, Martha met me on the road. Her words were soaked in pain and disappointment. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. There was accusation hidden in her grief. There was a question she could not bring herself to ask out loud. Why did you stay silent when we needed you most? But here is what Martha could not see through her tears. If I had healed Lazarus when he was only sick, they would have thanked me for a healing and gone back to their lives. The miracle would have faded into a story they told at dinner parties. But because I waited until he was dead, until hope was buried, until even the smell of death filled the tomb, when I called him out, when I shouted, "Lazarus, come forth," no one could deny what happened. This was not a recovery. This was a resurrection. My delay was not neglect. It was the setup for a miracle so undeniable that even my enemies could not argue against it. I let him die so I could raise him up in a way that would leave no room for doubt about who I am. That is exactly what I am doing in your life right now. I have let certain things die, dreams that you thought were your entire future, relationships you believed you could not live without. I let them die, and you mourned them. You questioned me. Some of you even got angry at me. But I was not absent. I was setting the stage for something greater. I was clearing the grave so that when I speak the word, what comes out of that tomb will shock everyone who thought it was over. Your resurrection is coming, and when it arrives, no one will be able to credit luck or timing or coincidence. They will know it was me, if this is speaking to your spirit right now. Go ahead and like this video. Let that be your way of saying back to me, I believe you are still working, even when I cannot see it. Let that like be your act of faith. You have been in a silent season, but silence is where the most powerful transformations take place. I taught this very principle when I walked the earth in flesh. I said, truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. Do you understand what I was saying? Death is not the end. Burial is not defeat. The ground is not a grave. It is a womb. A seed does not make noise when it is germinating underground. It simply remains buried, surrounded by complete darkness and crushing pressure, while unseen forces break down its outer shell and push life through its core. To anyone watching from above, it looks like nothing is happening. But beneath the dirt, a violent transformation is taking place. The seed is being destroyed and reborn at the same time. Its old form is dying so its true nature can emerge. And when that seed finally emerges, it does not come up looking like a seed anymore. It comes up as something completely new, something stronger, something capable of producing fruit that can feed thousands. That is what my silence has been doing in you. You have been underground. You have been in the dark. You have felt the pressure crushing you from every side, but you were not being destroyed, you were being planted. Let me be clear about something. My silence does not mean you are being punished. It does not mean you prayed the wrong way. It does not mean I am testing you to see if you will quit. My silence means I love you. I love you enough to develop you beyond where you currently are. I love you too much to give you a shallow answer to a deep question. I love you too much to hand you something you are not ready to hold. Think about how I love. My love is not reactive, it is proactive. I do not respond to your emotions. I respond to your destiny. Your emotions say, give me relief now. Your destiny says, give me strength for later. Your emotions say, remove the pressure. Your destiny says, use the pressure to transform me. I am always choosing your destiny over your comfort. Always, because comfort will never produce the version of you that your future requires. Now let me address something you have been feeling but have not said out loud. You have been wondering if you did something to make me pull away from you. Let me put that to rest right now. You did not do anything to make me go silent. This is not about your failure. This is about my strategy. I did not withdraw because you disappointed me. I pulled back because I was making room for something you could not build while I was holding your hand through every single step. Even my own son experienced this. In the Garden of Gethsemane, in his darkest hour, he prayed so intensely that his sweat became like drops of blood falling to the ground. The weight of what was coming was crushing him. He asked me 3 times to remove the cup of suffering from him, and I was silent. I did not answer him. I let him sit in the full weight of what was coming. Not because I did not love him. I loved him more than you can comprehend, but because what he was about to accomplish required a strength that could only be found in the silence. He had to make the decision without my audible reassurance. He had to surrender without my visible intervention, and in that silence, pressed down by the weight of it all, he said the most powerful words that have ever been spoken. Not my will, but yours be done. That is what silence produces. It produces surrender at the deepest level. It produces a faith that chooses to obey even when obedience feels like death. And that is the exact level I am bringing you to right now. There is a difference between me guiding you and me carrying you. For a season I carried you, I spoke constantly. I confirmed every decision. But if I had continued that way, you would have become dependent on the feeling of my presence instead of the reality of my promise. So I stepped back. Not to hurt you, but to graduate you. Silence is not the absence of my word, it is the activation of my word. I am waiting for you to do what I already told you to do. I gave you the vision. I gave you the promise. Now I am silent because it is your turn to move. If this word is hitting you right now, if you know there is something I already told you to do that you have been waiting for more confirmation on, type the word obey in the comments. Let that be your commitment that you are going to move on what I already said. The silence is almost over. I am about to speak. But when I do, it will not sound like it did before. It will be clear, commanding, and impossible to miss. I am about to give you instructions that will move you quickly. I am about to open doors that no one can shut. I am about to connect you with people who will accelerate your purpose. Listen to me carefully now. The silence is breaking. I am about to speak again, but this time, when I speak, everything will shift. Everything. Doors will open that you stopped praying for. Relationships will align that you stopped believing were possible. Provision will come from places you never expected. Clarity will flood your mind. Peace will settle in your heart, and you will finally see that the silence was not emptiness. It was preparation for fullness. Remember what I said through my prophet Isaiah. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways and my thoughts than your thoughts. You have been trying to understand my silence with human logic, but my ways are higher. My timing is perfect. My plans are greater than anything you could ask or imagine, and very soon you will understand why I moved the way I did. You will see that every delay was protection, every closed door was redirection. Every moment of silence was preparation for a sound so loud that when I release it, your whole life will change in an instant. So stay in position. Do not walk away now. Do not give up in the final hour. I am working. I have been working. I will continue to work, and very soon you will see the evidence of everything I have been doing behind the scenes while you heard nothing. My silence is about to give birth to your loudest season, the season where your testimony will be so powerful that people will not be able to deny my hand on your life. The season where breakthrough will come so suddenly that it will take your breath away. The season where everything I promised will manifest in ways that exceed your expectations. Trust me, I have not forgotten you. I have not abandoned you. I have been working even when you could not hear me, especially when you could not hear me, and what I am about to do will leave zero doubt in your mind that I was always there, always moving, always faithful. The silence was not the end of the conversation. It was the pause before the most important part. If this message resonated with your soul, I need you to do something for me right now. Share this with someone who is in a silent season, someone who needs to hear that I am still working, someone who is about to give up but needs this reminder to hold on just a little longer. Your obedience to share this might be the very thing that saves someone's faith. And before you go, leave a comment and tell me one thing you are believing me for in this season. Do not just think it. Write it down, declare it. Let your faith be activated as you type those words. I am listening. I hear every word, and I am about to answer in ways that will blow your mind.